Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Today I have a very interesting personality with me, Shiv Mathur. Uh, I found his video of a popular video on his channel when I was looking for the Himalayas in sadhus, and it was then of that video which introduced me to Shiv Mathur. I contacted him, and I really found his journey very unique, very special, and quite out of the ordinary. I felt that it is this Shiv. I've never met someone like him because it's very difficult to really put him in a peg and label. But since then I had some informal discussions on the phone with him, and I thought I'll bring him on my channel to share his experience and share his, if I can call it, journey. And I thought that his experience and his words will really benefit anyone who's starting out and perhaps avoiding the pitfalls as well. So, Shiv, welcome to my channel.
Thank you, Deepak, for
Sorry,
inviting me.
as I was saying to you earlier, I'm a bit nervous because I haven't done this for a very long time. So do excuse me.
It's okay.
Right. And I mean, if you really, I know you have an engineering science background, and you were in Navy for a very long time, and you've done lots of projects around the world, not just with Navy, but is it IT, right? Just correct me if I'm wrong. You were in telecoms, or you were in ITs?
I was in IT, I was in telecom, I was in also for a short time in a manufacturing industry, in charge of a hospital also for
Yeah.
veterans.
So you
So,
know you really have a very technical background, and
hmm,
there came a stage in your life you gave everything up and you followed your spiritual journey or your path, and you wanted to share your experience with the world. Am I correct so far?
yeah, yes.
Right. Now I will really, I was thinking about how to introduce you and how to take this conversation. And as I said, you are very different in people I've met, I had conversations with, and you're very unique at the same time. So you said when we had last had the conversation, we talked about meditation, and I know I practice meditation. It's just very different to what you preach, what you teach. It helps me. But when you told me about the meditation or introspection, the word you used, that was very fascinating to me. And I thought, because I always believed that meditation per se is not helpful. You need to understand, you need to have some sort of introspection. And when you said it, I clicked to me. So I think the best thing to do is, please explain to me, when you say introspection, what do you mean by introspection? That word.
Yeah, so introspection is when we talk about meditation, like people say meditation, they don't, most of the, I mean, I won't make it as a statement, but generally people really don't really know the actual clear understanding of what is meditation. So it's become something like what is to be done, and it is techniques, different techniques. So there are loads of techniques people are trying to teach. I won't say the word selling, or it's quite a big industry now. So there are many ways and methods, and it's very easy and very fashionable to say there are different methods. You can adopt any method, but how many people who have adopted these different methods have really benefited? That nobody tells, because there's a constant flow of people who are coming and they try something and then go away, and then a new one will come. So they keep flourishing. These techniques seller are constantly. I mean, they're consistent. They're pretty consistent. They're flourishing because they have new people joining in, then the old people leave. But who has? Is there any video about these techniques? The genuineness and the real outcome about these techniques, that no one knows. There's no content available around that. So understanding meditation is something very important, and so from where do we start? Is meditation is if you really see meditation is about if you see the first goal is about peace of mind or a state of mind, and where you can What do you mean by peace of mind? That you don't have worries, you don't have unnecessary thoughts. So it is not, meditation is not, introspection is about this only, that what exactly is meditation? Is it something which you do for a few minutes, sit down in certain pose and do some technique, and is that meditation? Or is it, what is the actual goal? You are supposed to be feeling great for 15-20 minutes, or you want to achieve something on a consistent basis. It should be a state of mind. And when you do a technique for 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever duration, and after that, what happens to your mind? And maybe there must be very minor difference which must be happening due to that, or maybe a little bit more. But really, do people really know where are they going to reach and how much time they're going to reach? Will this technique, what difference is this technique really making? Is it made any difference in 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or you are still the same? You still have
Yes,
those kind of thoughts. So this kind of thinking is needed, and self-inquiry is, which is called Atmachintan, is a Sanskrit word.
correct.
Self-inquiry is something which is introspection. We can use different word: contemplation, introspection, self-inquiry, whatever it is. So self-inquiry is something which has been already strongly recommended by all in the scriptures, by the real teachers. That is the only way. So when that is the only way, then what is the other way out? There is no other way out. If you really want to go back to some scripture, read Yoga Vashisht. Yoga Vashisht is clearly telling, and Yoga Vashisht says Ram, that self-inquiry is the only way. Now,
Correct.
what else? If you really want to go back to a scripture to validate this, you can read a scripture. You can read everything in the scripture, but if you don't catch this point, then it's waste. The book is 350 pages. The Hindi version of the book is 350 pages. But this word self-inquiry is just one word. If you read this word, you may not need to read the whole book also, because the main message of that book is that. So even that book is telling, Patanjali Yoga Sutra is also telling, but people go to yoga teacher training, do asan training, and then they also supposed to read Patanjali Yoga Sutra. I have spoken to some of the students of yoga teacher training. They just don't understand Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Even the teacher doesn't understand, because Patanjali Yoga Sutra is talking about meditation only. The ultimate goal is samadhi, but samadhi, how many people can achieve? At least can you reach that stage of dhyan? The word for meditation is dhyan. So if you really go, yesterday I was talking to somebody, they had a totally different definition, that meditation means you should sit and your eyes should be focusing between your focus should be between the eyes. Why should focus be between the eyes? Focus should be nowhere. Your focus should be nowhere if you are not doing anything. But if you're doing, then focus should be there. So dhyan is the word. And when you do a dhyan for a prolonged, so anything you are doing, you may be doing something for half an hour. Even suppose you are cooking, your dhyan should be in cooking. If you are
Correct.
playing, your focus should be in the game, not somewhere else. Like when you go to play, generally your focus comes to the sports. And if you, that's one activity where the focus comes to the sports. That's why sports is very rejuvenating, because you naturally tend to focus in the game. So focus is something, that's the way the mind works. That the mind should be like that. Whatever you're doing, it should be focusing on that. So this is, so when, what is to be introspected? Why is your mind not focused? Why is your mind filled with something cluttered? So why there's a clutter? Where is the clutter coming from? Why it is coming? So this kind of thinking is needed. So introspection is not just about the mind, but introspection is everything about life. Introspection, what kind of life you're leading, what are you chasing, what are your purpose.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. There has to be clarity actually
yeah.
before even you start. What is it that you're trying to achieve? I
So
mean,
we have so much of clutter about life itself. Forget the mind. If
correct.
you start from the life itself, when you start questioning, that's introspection. So it's about questioning about life. And when you start questioning about life, then you come to everything gradually.
Can I say that when we talk about, um, you said that when we are doing something, we should be focused or we should concentrate. Uh, is it a byproduct of a practice, if I may use that word, or is it comes naturally, or is it when you start, who am I? The self inquiry starts within you. That mindset eventually takes you to the focus. Sorry, I hope I'm making sense.
See, this is not outcome of any practice. What practice? Practice is only self-inquiry. So when your mind is cluttered, if something is going wrong, so you have to find the root cause. To find
Correct,
the root cause, you have to start thinking, analyzing it. When you do the analysis, then you come to the problem. And when you understand the problem, then you can find a solution.
correct,
So, so it cannot be. So when you really find what is the problem, why is your mind cluttered? Because you are processing everything in a certain way, and you are conditioned in a certain way. The brain is used to. You have been brought up in a certain way. So your
correct,
thinking is in a certain way. So there is a pattern, and it's called behavior. It's called nature. Everybody has his own nature. But the true nature is very different. True nature is same for all, but people have create their own nature, habits, behavior. So those are the patterns which are being embedded. And when you realize something is going wrong, that means something has been wrongly embedded in you. So when something has been wrongly embedded, you can change that. You realize that you have been perceiving everything, the perception, the processing which you do about everything. When you realize that is causing a problem, so then you realize that I was perceiving something in a very wrong way. What is actually right, I was seeing it as wrong. What is good, I was seeing it as bad. So when you start analyzing that, you start correcting. When you start correcting, you see the reality as reality. Don't see life as artificiality. So what is not true, what is not our inherent nature, becomes artificial, and that artificiality, impurity, or the wrong qualities which we imbibe in our upbringing, that affects our the way we process or perceive anything. Because if I even lack knowledge, like yesterday I was talking to someone who doesn't understand science. If they don't understand science, then how will they understand science and spirituality? So there's no way that person can understand spirituality scientifically. So I was telling science, this creation is a science. Now that
correct.
person will not agree because they have no clue about science. So if you don't have a clue about science, then you will keep hovering around techniques only. So a lot of people have many bottlenecks, many issues due to their inherent upbringing. Somebody doesn't understand science at all. What? How can you teach them? So they have a barrier.
Can I quickly ask on this here then? There are a lot of meditation techniques out there. I was mentioning to you, I went to Sri Lanka the last year. I've been on Vipassana course when I was very young, and I've done various different meditation techniques. What you are saying, but I'll tell you about my experience a bit later. But I want to ask you, so these all these meditation techniques which exist, how do you view them, their value?
How can something which is programmable, the brain, if you don't understand how the thoughts are produced, then you can keep going to the techniques. Because technique is something people think this is a shortcut. Without any effort, I go somewhere for 10 days and I will sort out my whole problem of my brain. Is that so simple? You spend 16 years to study college, get a degree, and you think I will go for 10 days and sort it out. My whole understanding of spiritual evolution, understanding of humanity, human values, how can you understand? How can a technique change? A brain is scientific. The way thoughts are created is scientific. The way thoughts come, the sensory organs, it's a science. Human body is a science, scientific. And the entire processing which is happening, functioning of the human body is also very scientific. And if you don't want to understand this science, if you think somebody is going to give a magic wand, how can some technique in 10 days, 20 days, 30 days change the programming of the brain? So when we try to deviate from the understanding of the functioning of the brain and the mind, then we can keep going around all these techniques. And that's what I told in the beginning. Can you tell me anyone who has really benefited? Anybody who can say his mind is decluttered? Like yesterday, I met this person. That person says, you can't remove all the thoughts. So they have now, because they can't remove, that person has spent 30 years in doing all this, lived in an ashram for 15 years, did everything, and now makes a statement this cannot be achieved. So that person is Because you can't achieve, that doesn't mean it cannot be achieved. And you don't want to learn because you also have many limitations. You don't understand even science. So, how will you understand the functioning of the human body? So that people have limitations. So majority of people have limitations. So they keep circulating because mind turbulence is everywhere. Everybody is having stress. Everybody is having turbulent mind. So because of the society we are living in, the way we have been grooming us ourselves in the society, the way society has decayed. I never use it word evolves. Society is not evolving. Society is disintegrating.
Hmm.
And why is it is disintegrating? Society is disintegrating because of turbulent mind. They are in a very bad state. So many impurities embedded by the society only. What is
Correct.
society? Culture. What is culture? We change the culture, we change the values, we lose the values. The values are decaying. When the values are decaying, in general, every individual, so those decaying values are causing all the problem. This is what has to be understood. But we run away from the reality because who wants to see the reality? People say, no, 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 no. I will do some technique because, we have this, we still live in hopes eternally that there'll be some guru, there'll be some technique who will, give me some jadoo ki pudiya, magic wand, and, do something. We are under this fool's paradise. So the majority of the people are living under fool's paradise. They feel, if, I have 15 minutes in a day, half an hour in a day, if I can give half an hour and go to some, school who will make me do some technique, I will try, they will spend some money for a year or two, and they will come out with nothing. Nothing will happen. There
Hmm.
are a lot of people who say, no, I have benefited, I have benefited. But what should be the
Hmm.
benefit that they don't know? So who can tell me what should be the benefit? And then if you really look at the real benefit, so how sincere people are about this, how serious people are about transforming themselves. Very few. So not many people want to transform. Those who are serious, they go little deep into this. They understand. They because that seriousness, sincerity takes them to the understanding. My students in Warsaw, when I was teaching in Poland, were very, very good. They were very sincere. But like when I come to India, when I'm in India, the people don't have the sincerity. Because people pass time. Most of the people are passing time,
Time pass.
not
Hmm.
making effort. Yeah, not making effort.
But to be fair, I mean, meditation. I know meditation techniques. There is data out there which suggests that a regular practitioner, for example, they did this. They were monitoring these Buddhist monks who were meditating on a regular basis for a very very long time, and they did find some sort of physical benefit. I mean, like
Why
in
to
the
go to a Buddhist monk? Why to go to a Buddhist monk? Buddhist monk is living a lifestyle which should be lived by a yogi. So that's why his way of thinking, his conditioning, everything is very different. Why to take a data from Buddhist monk? They are naturally meditating. But take a data from these schools who are teaching the technique and then see. And then also, how can you? There is no measurement available. What is the data based on? So we have say there is clinical data. Another podcast, one lady told, no, there is a clinical data. I said, you forget the clinical data. You are doing a technique. Have you stabilized your mind? So don't talk about if you have not stabilized your mind, you can. There is no way to measure it. It's very subjective.
right. I mean, there are so many questions now coming to my head. I mean, another I wanted to ask you was in so look, guidance is still required, isn't it?
But where
E-
do people go for guidance? It's all commercial market now, and they
Right,
themselves don't know anything. I met this lady, Yogini in Gangotri, Lalita Mata, and she also said this. You should go only who has realized this. How many have
right,
realized this? The teacher does his mind is the teacher's mind also stable?
right.
Does anyone ask the teacher, is your mind stable? Who's teaching?
Very,
Nobody asks.
very, very, very good point. Actually, very, very good point. Yeah, and it is not, and I absolutely agree with you. The way I've seen the word yoga, which has completely been distorted, and it has just become uh, it has just become like a set of physical exercises. And in the West, everybody calls themselves who does a little bit of few asanas, they call themselves yogi, whereas the definition of a yogi is, is quite it's not what they think a yogi is.
I had given
Let's
a lecture. I had given a lecture in Warsaw about yogi in one of the museum, Asia Pacific Museum. They'd
Right,
call me
right,
for a lecture. So I spoke to them what exactly the yogi. Yeah, yeah. Sorry,
right.
sorry to interrupt.
Actually, before I forget, guys, I will put Shiv Mathur's video, the channel link in my description box. Do watch his videos. Some of them quite amazing, quite really good. And also, I bought Shiv's book from Amazon, and I have done one reading. And I was saying to Shiv that at least I need to do 2 to 3 read on that book. If you get the, I'll put the link of the book as well. So please do check it out. Right. So I want to ask you from this point. There are people who are looking for something higher. Most people in this world, you know, will not go to that level what you're talking about. That's the way I've seen people around me. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. So can I ask you this very what
Yeah,
in your view, then what is God? I mean, we are looking for like a supreme power, something which gives us solace. I know I've gone up off a topic a little bit, and I will come to that, but I just wanted to get your view on God.
see, first of all, what should your first goal? You can search for God, but I mean that's another parallel area to explore. And but first thing is your mind really in peace? That is something which is needed. And when you said people will not go deep into it because we are trapped in this materialistic society. So the trap is so deep that we feel that this is the reality. So when you live in a illusionary world, far away from the reality, it's very difficult to see. So the priorities are very different. When you have been conditioned to chase money forever in your life, how can you all of a sudden change your priority? It cannot happen. When you've been conditioned for 40 years, 50 years, 30 years, whatever age, the society is showing dangling carrots, different kind of materialistic carrots. So when everybody is changing, so feel people can't go against the tide. Most of the people feel, that why are you going against the tide? So the whole thing is, should you really go against the tide or should you go with the flow? When you go with the flow, you will end up in the dungeon. And that's what is happening. And people know, but they feel the effort required to really go change the direction, and they don't see the goalpost. And there's no guidance also. Even if there is guidance, but how people are sincere because they want shortcut now. The conditioning is such that people are actually in a way lazy. We are looking for comforts when we are working towards comfort, and comforts makes you lazy. So this is a paradox we are living in. No, society imposed paradox that chase comfort, and comfort makes you lazy. Comfort doesn't give you anything; it makes you lazy. So people have tendency of being lazy. So they want shortcuts. The entire world is looking only for shortcuts. So how can you get this in a shortcut? So they go for techniques. They feel okay, fine, I will go for a technique. Probably I'll benefit because priority is still money, no. So if the priority is different, then what can I say?
I suppose we go back to the point that the priority, the intention, the clarity, why are you, if someone is on a journey and if that's not clear, that why are you doing this, what is required, and how you're going to get there is quite important. And so a good foundation, a good understanding. And I will just say here the Shiv's book, which I was, as I said, I bought I'll put the link. I think you should get that book. It gives a good foundation. So and you're right, Shiv. God exists, don't exist. I mean, the reason I asked that question was that a lot of people are looking for something external who will help them, who will support them, and
Which
that's the reason I asked that question.
Yeah, that's a reason because people don't want to make their own effort. They are lazy. That's why they don't do self-inquiry. If you
Yes,
tell them do self-inquiry, they run away. They want to go to somebody who can give a quick fix solution. So people are lazy, and they have a different priority because priorities are different. They
right.
don't feel this is important. So only thing when they are hit very hard, and this is a very long journey. So when they are hit very hard, then they start seeking. If you see, most of the Westerners are seeking more than Indians. But in the West, the people have hit the wall. They've spoiled so many relationships, multiple relationships spoiled, mental wrecks. So they are now serious. A lot of them are serious about it. Not everybody, but a lot of them are serious about it. But still,
Right.
the trap, materialistic trap, is so strong that it becomes very difficult to come out of it, because with money, with this money based society, and the importance of money is very, very strong. To get out of the thought of not life not based on money or based on less money seems like a illusion for them and impossible for them. So they for them to make that kind of change turn around is not so easy, especially in the the society, Western society, where the dependence on monetary is very high. And also, like I said, why people are trapped in this materialistic society, because the capitalists have actually influenced the brainwashing which happens, the marketing of products, the consumerism which is promoted. So the consumer is so strategically promoted. It is promoted as a part of a lifestyle, and that is projected as being successful. So the way these things are promoted by politicians, the capitalists, all the criminal, so people are given bitter pills, sweet laced bitter pills, and this under the sugar there is a lot of nonsense, a lot of impurity which has been for vested interest of people, the elites who are driving the world.
Absolutely.
So
I
people don't understand. If you read my third book, Social Pandemic, you will really understand how the society has been manipulated. So we are actually a manipulated lot. Manipulated
Yes,
even to the sense that even what one mind, peace of mind, that is also manipulated.
manipulated.
The spirituality is also sold, manipulated. That's also become a business.
Well, that's what algorithms are doing. They are just showing what you want to see and manipulating you
They
in that
show what you
respect.
want to see, and they also throw what they want to show, so
Exactly.
that finally you latch onto that. So that's how the brainwashing happens, because the marketing and all, like if you see LinkedIn, all the social media, they are also very manipulative. They don't promote free speech. They promote something. Even in YouTube, if you see the most popular channel in India, they are so vulgar, but they are the most
Hmm.
popular channel in India. So
Hmm.
what about community guidelines? How you are letting vulgarity, use of vulgar words in a channel? So what about community guidelines? But if you're doing something good, you might get a community strike.
Hmm. What is your view on soul? I mean,
Soul, I have a very different view. Soul. Soul is something which we cannot see, because we have a limitation. We have a sensory limitation. We are designed. Anything which is designed has a range in which it operates. It has got some capabilities, and it has also got limitations. So whatever we see, we call that a benchmark, but they are not the benchmark. They are only the benchmark in the dimension we operate. But soul is something which is not perceivable to us presently. Though our perceptions, perceptible, the ability to perceive is also very high, but we have not exploited that ability. The ability of mind is also very high, but we have not exploited even that, because we are cluttered. So when you are cluttered mind, you can't see beyond a point. So soul is something which can be experienced with a expanded mind and understood through expanded mind, because soul is it's basically another part of human which has certain functions. And when they say soul doesn't die, so soul is something which the the body gets perished, it perishes, but the soul moves. Soul carries a data of karmic data. Soul also provides the intelligence, because the intelligence is not in the physical body which perishes, which decomposes, but the intelligence part which comes from the soul. So the brain is doing all the processing based on certain operating system, like a program,
correct.
but it doesn't have the intelligence, because if it had the intelligence, if it was storing the karmic data, then if it perishes, then how will it be, process it further for the future use? So from that point of view, I feel it's logical that there are certain functions which are carried by the soul, which we call soul. It's just a word, but there is certain things which are there in the soul, which is in a different dimension. What we call formless is actually not formless. Even if you look at space, space, they said there is space, there is nothing. But space is also filled with energy, and that energy, what we cannot measure, doesn't mean it is formless, or what we cannot see doesn't mean it is formless. So there are many ways to explain that there is energy permeating through the entire universe, because there is light, and light travels through through the space. So how does the light travel? Photons. So there are energies traveling. Energy, when energy will be traveling, there will be mass. Mass has energy, and mass is subatomic particles. So the energy will only permeate. So when the light is transmitting from different source of energy, different stars, it is permeating, and which all band we don't know, because we also have a limitation. What all bands can we measure? If we can't measure certain band, doesn't mean we cannot, those bands don't exist. So we have to understand our design, our operating range, our limitations. We have limitations. Nobody talks about human limitations.
Of
They
course,
only
yes.
talk about what we cannot see. We call it formless soul. The soul nobody can know. So we have to understand it scientifically.
Absolutely. And I'm really aware of the time. I'm just looking, and I'm because I have got so many questions now suddenly, and it's really, really interesting. I'm listening to you. So if I finish this segment by quickly just repeating what I've understood from this 30 minutes conversation, is really what we are saying here is, or rather, you are saying is that go start with who am I?
No, no,
That's
don't even say with.
or you can please just in couple of points will be helpful to the viewers.
Start with thinking why your mind is turbulent.
Correct. Start with
What,
the mind.
what,
Okay.
what is causing turbulence? Why this thought is coming? What happened yesterday in a situation? What were the reasons for that bad situation? Who
Correct.
contributed? How did you contribute? Why did you react in that way? So we are constantly reacting. Turbulence is basically you are reacting. So why you reacted in a certain way? What thought made you react? What are the reasons? So if you see my book, these are all human qualities. So if you are selfish, you will react. If you are greedy, you will react. If you are selfless, you will not react. If you are jealous, you will react. If you are comparing, you will react. So this is something which needs to be understood. Why are we reacting? So when you tune your qualities towards the positive human qualities, the reaction stops, and that reaction stops. So you have to change you have to retune your
Tuning.
qualities.
You have to change the
Yeah,
tuning. You have
change
to,
the
in a way,
program, change the
program,
pattern,
come out of the
pattern.
conditioning. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, just one word I would say is that when I sometimes look at myself, I'm always in reaction mode, like, responding to what's happening outside, reacting to, I have to go holiday there, that place, have to eat that, have to buy that clothes, have to do this, have to do that. It's constant, and I can, very well relate to that. That we are reacting all the time. We don't even realize that we are reacting. Absolutely. I mean, I can really. I think people listening will relate to it. So, you know, stopping, pausing, and as you said, mind, where do thoughts come from? Uh, and that's what we call introspection,
Yeah,
going
so
into.
if you suppose you are reacting to what I have to eat there, so you are worried about even that. I don't care what I eat. I don't care if I don't eat. So
Okay,
when you are even worried about that I have to go and eat there, and if I don't get food, so what will happen? You will not die. Nothing changes in this world, but we are even reacting to small things. So when that happens, because you are not willing to accept. So these are the human qualities one has to see. You have to see
right.
what all human qualities are there, and where are how are they impacting you? How are they tuned in yourself? So that is, we can't change the world. We can only change the way we perceive
Ourselves,
it,
and we perceive
the
it.
way we perceive it. Yeah.
Right, right. I think that's really nice. That's beautiful. And as I said, I'm quite aware because when otherwise it'll be very long, and we'll try to bring it in part one, part two, part three, like that. and I'm learning myself. Today I've learned a lot, and I'm going to watch this podcast. Once I've uploaded it, and I'll send you the link. But it's really, really nice. Thank you very much. I think it's a very new way to look at things. It's quite interesting, and I'm sure the viewers will find this helpful, and
Actually,
will
this is not the new way. This is the old way.
all
The
way.
new way, the
Okay,
new way
for
is
me it's new.
new
Yes,
way is
yes.
the commercial way. Commercial way.
New way is a commercial. Yes, okay, I stand corrected, but it's very, very interesting, and I hope viewers will find this interesting, and I will speak to Shiv again and try to, well, as I'm learning, gaining experience in this. I will also, as I said, I will also bring him back again, and we'll have more meaningful discussions. But Shiv, thanks a lot. Really, really appreciate your time, and really loved it. Every time I have a conversation with you, I'm always learning something new. So thank you very much. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
thanks, thanks,
Thank
Ibu.
you. Cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Right.